morning to you all. Welcome at this webinar for commercial audio and system design. I'll be your host for today for this webinar. My name is Martijn van Overveld. I'm a marketing manager for EMEA, amongst others, responsible for commercial audio. So the presenter is Jan-Pieter Smolders, application engineer for public address, commercial audio, public address voice alarm, with a wide knowledge of our systems and applications, and as such also the right person to do this presentation today. It is the second time that we do a webinar about system design, and here Jan-Pieter will go a little bit more in depth on application design, specifically for Planner Matrix, after recapping the part one of system design that he did last week. And I won't take more of your time, Jan-Pieter, to present and to go into the details of this topic. So the floor is yours.
Okay, thanks, Martijn. To start with the topics, we do a small recap of the first part we had last week, then an overview of the Planner Matrix devices we have available. We dive into the standalone solution where you can use the amplifiers as a standalone solution for your project, and some application system designs. So what have we talked about last week? Depending on the type of applications, we have different solutions. The entry level, where we have 1 to 2 zones, an extended level where we also have 2 to 6 zones, and the possibility to have 2 channels, 2 amplifier channels. So we can have both announcements or messages and music, for instance, ongoing to the system at the same time. Then professional level, that's the level we're talking about today. System up to 8 zones with a lot of functionality in it. A lot of DSP. There is digital signal processing inside that system, and we're going to have to look at those details. Then we talked about loudspeaker selection. From left to right, ceiling, surface, and pendant. We have a wide variety of loudspeakers. Also, if you look at performance, it's a basic loudspeaker with a good performance, or a premium loudspeaker with excellent performance, depending on the frequency response. Also dedicated systems with subwoofers inside, or systems where you can mount the loudspeaker pendant from the ceiling, or add a subwoofer for more low frequencies. Now, if you look at the different systems, we started with the 1 to 2 zone systems, Planner Easy Line, like you see here on the picture. Integrated mixer amplifiers. Then the 2-zone system with 2 amplifier channels, like you see here, a mixer with 2 external amplifiers, also a wall panel for remote control possibility, and call stations where you can select the 2 zones individually. Then we also talked about the all-in-one solution. This is a solution with 6 zones and an internal amplifier as well, but you can also connect an external amplifier to this system, so you can use it also in a 2-channel mode. And on top you can see the call stations, the call station with 6 selection buttons for zones, and the wall panel solution where you can control the system remotely as well. The system of today, Planner Matrix, you see here in the picture. It's a system that can control 8 channels, 8 individual channels. If you have 2 amplifiers, each amplifier has 4 amplifier channels, so a total system with 2 amplifiers can address 8 individual zones. Via this call station you see on top, 8 buttons, you can freely assign 2 zones and a wall panel, and the graphical user interface you see there as well in the picture. So we're going to talk about this system in more detail today. Last week we also had, if you're looking at system design, a small overview of what requirements are important. Well, the first one, of course, is the amount of zones. We have systems up to 8 zones. The planar matrix can address 8 zones in total. The power that you need, depending on the loudspeakers that you have to install, you make a choice of amplifier power. Then the amount of music sources, up to 3 sources, or maybe even built-in. If you look at the all-in-one, there's a built-in tuner or MP3 player. Does your system has to be able to provide uninterrupted music? So you need a 2-channel to amplify channels or not. Maybe control it remotely via wall panel or wireless, like you see here in the picture on the right, where planar matrix, the volume is controlled via the iOS GUI you see here. If sound quality is important, do you need maybe a DSP, like we have in planar matrix? Do you need to combine rooms, conference rooms? Maybe you need to use presets, or maybe integrate it with a third party like a Mix or Crestron. Now we're talking about those solutions. We're talking about planar matrix. How does a system look like? There are 5 products in this family. The first one is the 8x8 mixer, so 8 inputs, 8 outputs with a DSP on board. We have a 4-channel 125 watt, 4 times 125 watt amplifier. So in total, this amplifier can provide 500 watts, so 4 individual channels. And we have a 4 times 220 watt amplifier, so in total 880 watt in this amplifier available with DSP. So you can also control and configure these amplifiers individually, so you can use them also in standalone mode. We're going to see that later on. Then the call station, you see it here on top for 8 zones you can address. You can easily configure the touch buttons on the call station yourself. So you can, for instance, make an all call button on this call station, selecting all zones at the same time, for instance. Then the call control panel, depending on the ID, so the address you give it, you can use it as a sound source selection for BGM and the volume control, or you can use it as a selection of the 4 microphone line inputs that are available on the mixer. So we'll see that later on as well. There are 2 software applications for configuration and control. The first one is on the PC. Now the graphical user interface on the PC is the only user interface you can use to configure the system. So if you need to configure the system, you need a PC with this graphical user interface on it. But of course, you can also use it for control. You can see the sliders already for volume, mute maybe. And the second option is the iOS GUI for an iPad or an iPhone or an iPod. And that one you can use only for control. So not for configuration, but only control. Now, if you look at the network connection, if you want to configure or control the system, you have to connect to it one way or the other. You can connect to it via PC directly, maybe, or via a switch, or wireless. If you have your iOS devices, maybe wireless. Then there is, if you look at the picture here on the left, there is an Ethernet connection on all devices. So all devices can be approached individually. When connected like this to a wireless router, you can select them on your iOS device, for instance, wirelessly. Now, the reason that it has individual Ethernet connections, you can use also the amplifiers in a standalone use. So we're going to have a look at an example for that later on. Yeah, one remark here, if you want to use the call station or the wall control panel, you need to have the mixer, because on the mixer the connections for both wall control panel and call stations are available. So then if you have to use a call station or a wall panel, make sure that you also have the mixer available. Something about the connection of the system to an existing network. Our general recommendation is to use a virtual LAN and to connect it to a managed switch. There are more details about this in the application notes, which is available in the on the product catalog. So if you want to connect planar matrix to an existing network, please check out this application note as well. Now, if you look at the mixer, there are a lot of configuration features. I will guide you through it a little bit by looking at this this picture over here. If you look from the left to the right, you can see all the inputs. 8 inputs, 4 microphone line inputs, 3 BGM inputs, and the call station. Then next to it, you have the input option. You can see this input is green. That means that it's active. The gray ones are not active. Once you click on it, you will see that it will, when you make it active, it will turn green. And the nice thing about this GUI is as well, if you have make, for instance, settings in this compression here or in the EQ that we have over here, and you want to copy those settings to the next one, you can just drag and drop it to the next input. So that's a nice feature in this GUI. If we go then to the right, you can send all the zone mixes individually to an output. So for instance, I can send the mix of zone 1 to output 1, but I can select maybe also here mix 1, then that mix will also be sent to output 2. And on the output, we have some additional features here, like a crossover, which you can maybe use if you're using a subwoofer and some top speakers, maybe in a venue where you have to play music or something like that. An EQ, a delay. The delay will allow you to delay the sound with 120 milliseconds. That means roughly 40 meters away from a stage, for instance, where you can then install a second loudspeaker to provide additional sound for the people that are standing in the back of a venue, for instance. And also on the output side, we have a compressor available, and on the output also some options to control the volume and phase inversion. Then the matrix also has the mixer also has some configuration options for the call station, where you can assign the buttons, the buttons for the zones. It has ducking. It has a possibility to set some parameters for ducking. That means if you make a call and you have music ongoing, you can reduce the volume of the music in the background, and it's still there, still having this nice atmosphere in your room where you are. You make the call, and after the call is over, the volume of the music will return to the initial value again. Then there are some overrides and tone setups available in the mixer. Presets, which you can use, for instance, if you have a conference center, you have 2 conference rooms, which you can then easily combine to one room. So you can use a preset for that. And there's also some security control to get access to the configuration. Now, some user features of the mixer. You can have independent zone selection. You can see here on the top, you select the zones here, 1 to 8. You can also give them names. So maybe that makes more sense that you say here, this is the restaurant, this is a bar, etc. Each of them has 4 sliders for the volume of the microphone line inputs, the 4 microphone line inputs on the mixer. And you see the metering here on the side. You can select the background music sources, so the audio sources, one of the 3. You can select them here just by pressing these buttons, so you can switch it off. Also volume control over here. You have volume control for the call station, so you have an option to control that as well. And the master volume, so the total mix master volume. And then on the bottom here, you can see you can also mute the inputs which are not used. You can mute them individually. Then if you look at the amplifier, basically we have some DSP inside there as well. If you log in with your PC, you will see the DSP setup like it's popping up over here on this picture. What you can do, you can mix each input. So you have 4 inputs. You can mix each input to each output, if you like. So you just click on this sign over here. You can then assign it to each output. You have a crossover functionality here as well. Well, this is the place where I would use this crossover if you have a dedicated sub in your room or in your venue, to use it for the sub and the top speakers that you have installed. An EQ, again, also a delay here in the amplifier, and some compression or limiting if you would like. Then you have on the amplifier also a nice functionality which is called auto standby. So you have some standby settings. You can enable this. What you can do, you can connect a motion sensor, for instance, in a room, connect it to this contact. And then when at a certain time, you can see a time here on the bottom, when there is no movement in the room at all, the amplifier will switch into standby mode. So you will save power by doing this. You can also do this by just switching it in by contact, of course. But this is a nice feature to save on power. There are also presets available here. You can assign the presets on the PC in your configuration, and later on you can select that on, for instance, your iOS device. Also security access for your configuration. And also a nice thing about these amplifiers is that they have 100 volt outputs, 70 volts, 8 ohm and 4 ohm outputs on each amplifier channel. So that's convenient. You can use a wide range of loudspeakers and connect to this amplifier. And the last thing, you can also bridge these outputs, so you can combine 2 amplifier channels to one. Some user features of this amplifier. You can have your channels switch on or off. Some level control here via these controls. There are some warnings here, fault warning and thermal warnings, and you can put the system here also into standby. So via this GUI, you can also save power by switching it to standby mode. So let's look at the standalone solution. So where you're going to use an amplifier now as a standalone device, not the mixer, only the amplifier. If you look at, for instance, a cafe or a bar where we have 2 outputs connected to an LB20 cabinet loudspeaker, full range loudspeaker, and a subwoofer, 1 channel used for the subwoofer. If you have, let's say, music, maybe late in the evening where you have some dance night or whatever, to have some extra low frequencies, and maybe for the change rooms, a ceiling loudspeaker on a 100 volt line, and outdoors maybe also, if you have a terrace, maybe 2 loudspeakers for the outside. Now on the input, what do we connect? A DJ. Maybe for late in the evenings where you have a dance night or something like that, and an SDT or music source for music or CDs or MP3s or whatever. How to control? We connect a wireless router, so we can control this via, for instance, the iPhone you see here on the right. There's a screenshot of a GUI where you can control the volume of each output. You can also mute it and also select any presets if you like. And also a standalone amplifier in a restaurant. Here we will connect ceiling loudspeakers, the premium LC20 loudspeakers, indoors, an 8-inch for more low frequencies. And for the bathrooms, we select some LC1 ceiling loudspeakers. And on the outdoors, again, an LB20 5-inch full range loudspeaker. On the inputs, you might want to have some live music in your restaurant. We will use 3 inputs on this amplifier for instance, a jazz trio or a keyboard player with a singer or performer. And then on the 4th input, which is available on this amplifier, we can connect a background music source, like the SCT, for instance. For control, again, a wireless router, and we control it via an iPhone or any iOS device we have. Then again, an example about a gym with 1 amplifier. Now we have different rooms in the gym. One for cardio, one for weightlifting. What do you see here in the picture? We connect on the 2 outputs LB20s, 8-inch, and a subwoofer. And for the locker rooms, an LC1 ceiling loudspeaker. And on the input, we use a headset. So if you have, for instance, an instructor who's doing some spinning and wearing a headset, he can give you the directions what to do. And for music, this person can have an iPod, for instance, and stream via AirPlay to the amplifier. The third input we'll use for a TV, which is in the gym available. So the audio of that TV can also be connected to this amplifier. And the 4th input we will use for background music. Now how we control this? Again, an iOS device, an iPhone, an iPad, or maybe a PC, which is in the area where the instructors are. If you enter maybe the building. Now, if we look at the system design, let's take an example of a mid-sized shop. The requirements of this shop, it's an area of 500 by 800 square meters, 8 zones, and we need to do some EQ to adjust the sound to the room acoustics. We need microphone, line inputs, a music source, a call station, and an emergency input. Now, what do we select for this shop? We take the cabinet loudspeakers, the LB20s, 6 of them. We take the premium loudspeakers, the LC2s, a subwoofer, and instead of the planar matrix mixer, we use the planar 2-zone mixer. So this is maybe a cost-efficient solution. Instead of the planar matrix mixer, we use the planar easy 2-zone mixer, and we connect that to a planar matrix amplifier. Now, if you need more zones, we can add four zones to the system. But be aware that if you want to address all these zones individually, you would need the planar matrix mixer, because there you can connect the 8-zone call station of planar matrix. Now, in this case, we only need to select 2 zones. Initially, we take 2 zones. We can use the planar 2-zone call station for that and connect it to the mixer, and the music source for our background music. Now, if you look at the selection or the layout of the installation, what we see here, we have one channel which is connected to the LB20s on a 100-volt line. You can see them on the wall, mounted on the wall here and over there. So this is one channel. The second channel we use for the ceiling loudspeakers, which are connected here, also 100 volt, and we connect them through the whole area. And then channel 3 and 4, this is a combined, so this is a bridged output of this amplifier for the subwoofer, because it's 400 watts, and we need the extra power for this subwoofer, which will then be connected at low impedance to this amplifier. So this is one solution for this shop. If we need to extend it with more zones, like for instance, you see here in the restrooms or the office or storage or an outside entrance, we need an additional amplifier to do that. And if you need to address all these zones individually, be aware that you also then need the 8-zone call station from planar matrix and the matrix mixer instead of the 2-zone mixer that we used in this example. Now we look at another example, a fitness center. This is a nice example how we can use a lot of power. This area is quite big. It's 800 by 1000 square meters. We want to be able to address 8 zones and control the system via PC or iOS, which is not possible. And for the experience, we have different rooms. We need different settings and different loudspeakers to have foreground music or background music, live speech, and announcements. Now, how do we do that? The products we select for this fitness center are the LB20 5-inch loudspeakers, which we connect to 100 volts. Then the LB20 8-inch loudspeakers we connect to 8 ohms, so low impedance. And we are using 3 subwoofers. 2 we connect to 8 ohm stereo, and 1 we connect to 4 ohm. And that's an option. There are 2 drivers inside. You can connect them either in stereo or mono mode. Now the products of planar matrix itself, we are using the mixer, of course. We are using 3 amplifiers in this case. We'll show you how in the configurations we are going to use this. An 8-zone call station, the planar matrix 8-zone call station, and a music source. Now, how does that look? If you look at the drawing here, it's a little bit more complex. Now, if we break it down, if you look at the first amplifier here on top, this amplifier is connected via 100 volt to these loudspeakers here and here, those 2 which are connected, channel 1 and 2. And the third channel here is connected to the loudspeaker around the area over here. So that's also 100 volt. Yeah, you can see that on the transformer inside of the picture. Then the second amplifier, the first and the second channel are low impedance connections to those loudspeakers in this area over here, those 4 on the corners. And then channel 3 and 4 is a bridged output for the subwoofer over here in this area. And then the third amplifier is used for the main area. Channel 1 and 2 is connected to this subwoofer, and channel 3 and 4 is connected to this subwoofer. So you have covered the whole area with full range 100 volt loudspeakers and 2 subwoofers in this gym. So this is a nice solution, nice option to add additional power to a planar matrix system. Okay, this is it. Are there any questions, Martijn?
Yeah, there are a number of questions. Yeah, there were a couple of people that had some audio issues, but I hope that has been solved maybe by entering renewed in the session. Otherwise, the session is recorded, so if you missed a piece or a part of it, then you can always listen back once we post it on YouTube and in our YouTube channels. So don't worry, it's not necessary to miss anything here. With respect to the products and the presentation, Jan-Pieter, so one question, is it possible to control volume and music selection in one zone? For example, using two wall control panels with Planometrics.
Yeah, that is possible. We had that question last week also. Well, basically, it's RS485, so you would expect that you have a unique ID. That's how it's designed, but it's possible to use two wall panels also with controlling the same zone.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have the possibility to connect the Planometrics through an Android device, or is there an Android app basically, or is that planned for the future? Maybe I can take this question then. So basically, for Planometrics, for the amplifiers and for the DSP controller, we have an app that runs on Apple devices. Android devices has been thought of. We have made this business case in the past. We did not see enough traction there to do that in the end, and it's also not planned for now. So it remains a control through an Apple device or a Windows PC, for example. You can also use that, of course, as a user interface. Another question with respect to Planometrics, can it be configured? Yeah, so it's basically asking for confirmation that it can be configured with DHCP and static.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah. Once you make connection to the system, yeah, you can assign that. You can enable or disable it. Yeah.
Okay. This one I don't really get. Could we use this Planometrics for? Can we use this Planometrics for PAVA? So for public address and voice alarm, the same as Paviro, Plana, voice alarm, I presume, and Presidio.
Yeah, that depends on the region where you are. If you have, let's say, a requirement that it has to be certified, like EN54, you cannot use it because it's not supervised. The whole system is not supervised. So you can imagine if something happens to your call station or to whatever with the system, and you're not notified about that, yeah, it will not work. So you cannot use it as an evacuation system, a voice evacuation system. But yeah, if you're in a country or a region where there are no requirements at all about evacuation systems, yeah, it will process the sound, but be aware there's no supervision.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's all. Those were all the questions. So if there's any question, then you can ask them now or reach out to us after the session, and we will do our best, of course, to answer your questions as good as possible. Wait a couple seconds here for people to enter more questions, if any, and otherwise, Jan-Pieter, thank you, and our audience, thank you for being here. One last one. In the nick of time from Uwe, you can use the matrix as front end before the controller in an EN5416 environment. Yeah, okay. Yeah, as long as the controller, yeah, basically I think what Uwe means here, that you can use the Planometrics DSP controller as a sort of front end for commercial audio applications. Once the voice alarm kicks in a Paviro system, for example, then all these inputs from Planometrics are then how do you say that, overruled. So the planar matrix should never be in the path of a voice alarm message. That's I think what he means here.
No, now we have some nice examples where we can use the mixer as such as a BGM source and control it wirelessly. For instance, you have eight outputs on this mixer, so you have a lot of options to connect it to a PAVA system, of course, but then only for business calls or background music, not for evacuation.
Yeah, you had some application notes on that one, I believe, huh?
Yeah, we also have a presentation about, for instance, for Paviro, we have an example about it in combination with planar matrix.
Okay, good. Yeah, and one request here to share the information later on, and yeah, we will share it on our YouTube channels. So it's recorded. We have to do a little bit of tricks and make it beautiful. That's what we have our colleagues internally for to do that. And when that's done, then we will post it on our YouTube channels. With that, yeah, again, Jan-Pieter, thank you, and also the audience, thank you for tuning in here. Yeah, hopefully we'll see or meet or speak to you soon. So thanks for now, and see you later.